Hey there, it's Diane Forster, and welcome to I Have Today, where we talk about the art of intentional living. And each week on this show, we are here to inspire, empower, and educate you and let you experience what it's like to live a life with intention, to reinvent what's not working in your life. And today, I am excited to bring in the studio with me a very special guest who's going to be talking all about that as it relates to women who serve time in the military and then reacclimate into civilian life. So if you're a woman out there and have been in the military, you're going to love today's episode. Or if you know any women who have spent time in the military and then transitioned into civilian life, this is the episode for you. So I'm your host, Diane Forster, and I have been hosting this show for 7 years. We've done over 250 episodes of I Have Today. We are on the I Have Today TV network, which can be found on E360 TV. We're also streaming on all the major platforms on social media. And we take this TV show and we turn it into a podcast as well, all called I Have Today with Diane Forster. So if this is your first time here, I want to say thank you so much for being here. And if you've been here before, I want to say welcome back. We love you so much. Thank you for coming back. Our show now crossed over 120,000 views per month, which we are so excited about, and over 2 million minutes viewed per month. The growth that we've been experiencing has been exponential since the beginning of the year, and certainly since the launch of our television network. And my guest today is Siobhan Cunningham, and Siobhan is actually a new host on the I Have Today TV network. So she's going to share her story, why she decided to launch a TV show, why she decided to be on I Have TV, and then also why she's so passionate about the work that she's doing. She's got a fascinating story, and I'm going to bring her on in just a few minutes. I'll share more information about her when she joins us. Now, I want you to make sure that you stay till the end of today's show because I have two special announcements that I want to share with you. And then we always end every episode with a powerful mantra meditation so that you could leave here at the end of this episode feeling inspired and empowered in your life and moving in inspired action and feel better at the end than you did at the beginning. So this is what we call transformtainment. So with that, what I want to first share with you is something that we do every single week on the show, and that is we set an intention. And we give you an intention statement to live by for this entire week. And this week's intention statement is, I have today to live any kind of life that I want. I have today to live any kind of life that I want. You know, we're living in a world right now where we're getting so much information from so many different avenues and ways and channels and platforms and mediums and information on how we should feel, how we should live. If you're here in the United States, you know what's going on with women, how rights have been taken away. And we're about empowering you to let you know that it really doesn't matter what's going on in the world. You can either be a victim to it or you can be the victor in your life. You can be the shiro in your life. And you were born and you're here, which means you get to live your life any way you want. It's a miracle that you are here. There's a 400 trillion to 1 odd of you being born. So the fact that you are here, breathing air through your lungs, living your life, means you get to have any sort of experience that you want. And how you do that is by creating awareness, being curious and asking questions, and not settling for the status quo of what society or family or friends or community or religion or anybody tells you about the way you should be living your life. You get to choose and you get to decide. And that is at the core of who we are. And part of the reason why I wanted to have Siobhan on today is because this is an extraordinary woman who's done so much in her short life already and is making major strides and is very committed to her vision and mission and what she's doing in the world. And I know you're going to be inspired by her story. So make sure you're not multitasking right now and really tune into what we're doing right now, because I know you're going to want to take these nuggets and implement them into your life. So again, our intention statement is, I have today to live any kind of life that I want. So what my team does is they create these beautiful graphics every week with our intention statement. And there it is right now. It's already created. This you can find on my Instagram page at Diane Forster Official. When you go over to my profile, check it out. You'll see a button that says intention statements. This is already there. What I want you to do is I want you to take your phone and I want you to take a screenshot of that and then use that as your wallpaper for the entire week, so that every time you look at your phone, you are reminded of this. And this is how we create lasting, permanent change. This is how we reprogram the subconscious mind and give it new information, the positive information versus all the noise that's out in the world that's getting, it's sinking in there as well. You want to counter that. So that's there for you, and that's there for you to live by this entire week. So with that said, we're getting ready to bring Siobhan Cunningham into the studio. And before we do that, let's hear a word from our sponsor, the Spifter. This week's episode of I Have Today is brought to you by the Spifter. The Spifter is a fun sifting spoon that makes cooking, baking, and decorating with sugars and spices so much fun. No more mess or wasting your spices. It's fast, clean, and easy. Everything looks and tastes delicious. It's also great for straining loose tea, getting pesky broken cork out of your wine glass, and draining liquid off food like olives and capers. Whether you're a novice cook or a gourmet chef, you'll love the results. The Spifter, the kitchen gadget that no kitchen should be without. Well, hello there, Siobhan Cunningham. How are you today?
Hi, Diane. I'm so feeling wonderful and so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my privilege and honor, and it's so great to have you here and feature you and introduce you to the world on I Have Today. And we're going to talk about so many wonderful things with your story and the work that you're doing, the incredible work that you're doing, and why you're so passionate about helping women transition life from the military into civilian life. So before we do that, I want to read a little bit about you to the audience so they can understand how awesome you are. I already know how awesome you are, but we'll let them know. Siobhan Cunningham is known as the Women Veterans Empowerment Expert, who is often referred to as a transition Jedi. Due to her exceptional skills in guiding individuals through life changes, she's committed to assisting female veterans and military families to thrive in their civilian lives. Her expertise is rooted in her background as an Army child and her service as a social worker officer at the USAF, combined with over 20 years experience in trauma therapy and behavioral health leadership. Her mission is to inspire individuals to live purposefully and meaningfully after the military service. Now, she is the host of the brand new show, Armed with Ambition, Navigating Military and Life Transitions. And as I mentioned, it's on the I Have Today TV network. And Siobhan aims to equip you with the tools and knowledge to navigate military and life transitions. And she doesn't just discuss theories, but delves into powerful life strategies and practical tips, which we're going to talk about today, that you can immediately apply to enhance your life. Each episode features topics and guest experts focused on what matters most to you, from physical and mental health to home life, career advancement, financial wellness, and community engagement. This show is a beacon of hope, a vital resource crafted specifically for women veterans aiming to shape their future. And I have to tell you, we're so excited about it. Your work is so in alignment with the I Have Today vision and mission and everything that we're doing. And you are truly the expert for women veterans. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So let's first get a little bit into your story, to give us a little bit of your background and talk about some of the reasons why you got to be where you are. Tell us what events occurred in your life that brought you to where you are today.
Oh, it really does start in my childhood. Thank you. I'm a therapist by trade. That's the social work part of me. I knew I wanted to do it from the beginning because my mother had health issues, and I met my first social worker at a military hospital because my mom we had to work with that person throughout all that. So my Army childhood, moving around, had me meet a lot of interesting people, live a lot of wonderful places, deal with moving away from friends and making new friends. Um, so it kind of put me in this place where I already had a huge cultural interest in other cultures. I was more accepting of different lifestyles, but I also had an idea of military life from a civilian military child standpoint, which is very different than a lot of other people's lifestyles. Even from the sense that we it is very classist in a way because ranks have to live together, so upper ranks don't live with
Oh,
lower ranks, officers don't live with enlisted, and a lot of the people who work together live in the same neighborhoods, and those are your friends, and they all know each other, and it's a different experience than if and I went to school both on base and off base, so there's different experiences there. Military kids are usually more disciplined. There's a lot of consequences and eyes on for your behaviors because there really is a community looking out for you, even if it's just a reprimand or keep your parent who's serving in check. Whereas when you go off base, you're lucky if you have a community feel, but that wasn't really what I encountered when I went off base. The community is still an aspect of it, but it's not as tight as it was in the military. So I've really mastered this navigating transitions in military life because we'd move from place to place. My dad was in the military, out of the military, or he would deploy and we'd have to leave where we are and go back home to Florida. It was very much a wave of things happening and me learning how to adjust.
wow. Do you know how many times you moved?
Mm-hmm. At least 6 times that I know of. There's some things that don't count because we would leave a base because my dad would deploy for a year or so and go back home, but he could have still been attached to the base. I don't know, but I know I definitely been attached to at least 6 bases growing up. Hawaii, North Carolina, Kentucky, Fort Knox, maybe 4. Maybe those were the 3 main bases that I can think of. But then going back home and leaving and coming back was North Carolina. Did I say North Carolina? It used to be called Fort Bragg, but then they recently changed the name and I don't remember what it's called now. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so at least 4 or 5 bases.
What do you remember? Like, what's a happy memory? One of your happier memories from that time?
So there's 2. One, my dad was a paratrooper, so he jumped out of planes, and I
Wow.
just thought that was the coolest thing. I remember vividly going to a jump show, and watching him come down. And we have a picture of him when I was like 5 or so, of him in his gear holding me, and I was just really happy to be a part of that. So even now, I love air shows. I was in the Air Force. My dad was in the Army. My brother was in the Navy. But that's always, if there's an air show going on, I'm there because paratroopers jumping out of planes have a special place in my heart. And it's a very tough job for the military folks.
And what made you decide to join the military? Was it
That
because of the upbringing?
No, honestly, I think it's something in me. I think it's in my blood, in my design. Uh, because my dad did not want me to join. He was like, now my dad was enlisted. But he was like, get your education. You don't need to join the military. Go to school, do that. Well, I did do that. I went
Yeah.
to school. I became a social worker, a master's degree in social work, licensed, all of that. And I was like, I still want to do the military. I still want to do this. And my brother, who was in the Navy at the time, was like, you would be an officer. And that's a pretty cool gig. Now, he was enlisted. He was a corpsman. So that was medical, and so and social work falls under medical in the Air Force, not in that umbrella, not like medical, but it's biomedical sciences.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he realized the pressure officers have. Like, no one really understands the pressure we have. I'm not saying is not tough on enlisted folks. I definitely know that. But a lot of people think it's a cakewalk being an officer because we get to boss the enlisted folks around. And that's the majority of the force. And there's like 20%, less than 20% of the force that's an officer.
Yes.
But we got pressure too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Mm.
But
So
it was to be a social worker. Like I wouldn't have joined to not do so. There's nothing else I would have done than be a social worker in the military.
yeah, and you're very, very committed to that and passionate about that. And you've obviously 20 years experience in trauma therapy and behavioral health leadership. Why is that such a calling for you?
I think it was just my life path. So my mom, she had lupus. She's had a couple of kidney transplants. And those were all through the military medical system.
Mm,
And so I understood the importance of how a medical situation affects the soldier's ability to perform their duties, the family's ability to keep things together. Because if the home life falls apart, and the service member's job falls apart, there's really not much left for them to hold on to. They really struggle with figuring out what life is like if those two pieces have fallen apart. If one's okay, they'll be okay. But when they both fall out of alignment, it usually ends in anything from getting kicked out and feeling like a failure in the military is something like detrimental to any service member.
yeah.
And then because there's so much reward in the military for doing a good job, like you get awarded for everything, decorate, not everything, but like there's a way to really promote someone's accomplishments in the military. You get award packages, you get decorations for like deploying and coming back. You get hails and, you get shout outs from commanders. There's just all kinds of positive reinforcement. So the shift of that is negative reinforcement. And that doesn't feel good for anybody, especially when the consequence of not doing your job at the end of the day always comes into people die. Like you didn't mop the floor, you mop the floor, you forgot to put up the sign, an emergency happens, everyone has to rush to their duty station or their rally point. The floor is wet, no one knew, they slip and fall, someone died. Someone died because we didn't get to the rally point on time.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of pressure. Yeah. So how many years were you in the military?
I was in for 4 years. I really was supposed to do 5. And I talk about this because it's that failure thing coming up again.
Yeah.
I was slated to do 5 years. My military career ended up being not great. It was very emotionally draining. I had a very competitive position I was in. And because I was doing well, I was targeted. And it led to a lot of me being told that I was a scumbag, maybe not directly, but by actions that happen. Me being taken off of duty, so I wasn't doing my job, which was very important to me. A
Yeah.
job I had excelled at before I joined the military, and now all of a sudden I'm terrible at it. And what's my purpose if I'm not good at my job? Because everything is attached to your identity in the military once you join. And I'm someone who joined at 29, and
Okay.
so I had all this life experience where I was very comfortable in who I was, very good at what I did, very confident. And as soon as I joined the military, I was kind of indoctrinated based on my rank and I was a first lieutenant, so I didn't even come in as we call them butter bars, so second lieutenant in the Air Force. My rank shown that I had experience, but because I was new in the military, they wanted me to act as if I didn't know. I had to ask questions that I already knew the answers to. I had to do things the military way for stuff that I had been doing for like almost a decade
Wow.
before I joined. And so it really affected my confidence, and I had life stuff. And I just always felt like the struggle to be who the Air Force wanted me to be, what an officer was supposed to be. And so I kind of got lost in who I was. And I wasn't really proud of the personal life decisions I was making. So I wasn't proud about the guys I was dating. I wasn't proud about how I let them treat me, things that I would accept that I normally would not accept. I wasn't happy about the trajectory of my career because if you're an officer, I joined to see clients, And I knew that would change over time, but the higher up you get in rank, the more people you have to lead and the less clinical stuff you're actually doing. And
Yes.
I was like debating, do I want to do this? It's a lot of pressure already. Is it going to get worse? But then I felt like a failure. Like I took this job to do this thing that they want me to do. Why is it not sitting well with me? And those things really affected my identity and who I was. And so my military career took a big chunk out of who I believed I was. And it kind of left me feeling lost and not successful. So it was very difficult for me.
Yeah. So let's talk about the transition out of the military back into civilian life and what happened to you and for you, because it's always for us. It doesn't feel like it, but it is. What
Yes.
happened to you and for you?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm
Yeah, what was,
about, well,
yeah, what was going on?
they already pulled me off of duty,
Okay.
but I still showed up and I still did whatever I could because that was what they told me. Like the legal defense people were like, just show up, smile, do your job, be the best airman you could be. That was not my initial inclination. I was kind of like in table flip mode, F it mode.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and so I did shift and I had to do a lot of professional and personal development to kind of get my mindset in a way where I started to believe in myself. Like this uniform is not my identity. Being an officer, Captain Gas, that's not me. I'm Siobhan. I've always been Siobhan. What does that look like? But right, I was still in survival mode. I very much had suicidal ideation.
mm.
Um, it had gotten to the point where because things just kind of kept happening and people were working on helping me out, but I couldn't see it. I just saw that I kept getting into trouble no matter what I did. Like I was back in the commander's office, getting reprimanded for something. Um, and so new leadership came in. They kind of got very concerned because I would sit in my office and just silently cry. And my flight commander knew that I was just in my office crying and working and crying. And they were kind of like, we're worried about you. And I
Yeah.
was like, can I please get out? Can I please? One time I got in trouble for something and I cried so hard, my nose started bleeding.
Oh
And
my
the
God.
commander was horrified. And so finally they were like, if you want to get out, you can. Like, we will let you get out. And so I ended up getting out and I decided to get married, which that was another set of things, but well, that's a different story. That's the life part of the transition.
You know what? This is fascinating. I didn't know this level about you. Like I know you, but I didn't understand this level of you. And thank you because you're being so authentic and vulnerable, which our network is all about and your show is all about. And this is life, people. Like this is life. So, okay. So obviously you got married and you weren't even in your right state of mind anyway, right? So what's going to happen when you get married like that? So tell us what happens.
you know, my now ex-husband, I think we both were looking for something in each other that we were not able to offer. Um, I am grateful for the situation that happened because I have my two daughters and the situation was getting married. I have a different aspect of how I see myself. Before I was looking for the answers of who I was in a mate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I chose a mate that was aligned values wise and kind of ethics wise to the military culture. But I didn't, so very conservative, very vocal about their opinions. And I often did not feel heard or important in my marriage. But that's what I married into, and that's what I was attracted to because I think it was kind of a reflection of like this and I don't even know if like I wasn't trying to assign him to that, but in my head I was like, this is military adjacent. This is military culture adjacent. He had never served in the military. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, he hadn't, but like he very much fit kind of the persona of people who I'd interacted with in the military. And so I kind of was like, well, this person accepts me and they're kind of aligned to this thing that rejected me. Yay, I'm accepted. But in the long run, I realized this was not meeting my needs. This is not what I want. I don't need this acceptance. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if anyone has ever been in that situation. I do know the divorce rates are military way. And I've always been interested to see if it's that identity piece that has a big thing to do with why the marriages don't last as long for women who served. Because I know for me, my identity had drastically was a big question mark when I got out. Who am I now? What am I good for? I'm a failure. Who accepts me for who I am? How do I be what people want me to be? And I realized that doesn't matter. And so part of that was the second part. So there was a lot of personal development, but this thing that really ended up helping me get at peace with who I am and trusting that I'm created to be me and that's perfectly okay, flaws and all, is my relationship with God. And so those two pieces kind of came together and turned me into a better mom. I have a 2 and a 4-year-old. My ex-husband's a wonderful father. And so we co-parent well. And I'm just very blessed to have been able to work through that. And it may not have went how either one of us wanted it to go, but it was necessary for, I think, both of us to kind of grow and learn more about who we are. And I cannot speak for him, but I never want to get on here and try to trash my ex-husband. It was an important piece of my personal growth. And I would hope that, that he would have gotten some personal growth experience as well. But that's not, I just never, because he's my kid's children. I mean, he's
Yeah.
my kid's father. I never want to speak ill of him. It's more of just what I had to go through as a result of our relationship.
That's admirable, classy, wonderful. What a wonderful role model you are. And that says a lot about you and your character, which is why you're doing what you're doing and you're the leader that you are, Siobhan. It's really, really beautiful. So let's turn our attention to your show, Armed with Ambition. And it's navigating military and life transitions. And so what is it why this show and why now?
One, I feel confident enough to be an authority of some sort on the topic. Before, not so much, because I felt like my life was falling apart. But because I am open about my struggles and I have my clinical background, again, I've been in the trauma therapy field, in the emergency response field for almost 20, probably it has been definitely 20 years. That, now it's gotten to the point where, okay, I see where I've grown and healed areas I've had to work on and continue to work on, and I want to help other women have these conversations. The mental health piece is being addressed, I think, pretty well. This is more the other stuff that's not being as addressed. So for instance, I talked about identity. That's important. But I also noticed, when I started dating again, which I've taken a pause on because that's not fun.
Oh yeah. That's a topic for another episode.
Right. But I realized I was attracting men who kind of weren't, that needed a lot of I felt I needed to kind of parent them or give them extra attention or support. And it's because I was posturing myself as someone who could be that for them. And so then I started researching feminine and masculine energy, and the idea, same thing with executive. Now I'm a director of behavioral health at a hospital, or a community center, community health center. And, even before that in the military, it's very masculine energy, very domineering energy. And so I realized I really want to tap into being more feminine, being more soft, being more loving and kind and gentle, allowing men to open the door for me or offer help and be appreciative when they do, and giving them compliments on that. And that would attract the type of men who would want to do things for me so they could get that feedback. So more of a lean back energy instead of a lean in energy. And that's the biggest thing I'm working on right now. And even so, going back to dating, because we're talking about life transition. So even when it comes to like looking for a partner, I'm not looking anymore. If they come to me because they see something they like, I might be interested, but let's just see how that goes. I'm not going after anybody, and I'm not desperate for any attention. And I think that's more of the lean back, at least the area that I'm focusing on, the lean back right now.
Right. And so what you're going to be doing in the show is, and we'll talk about your cards in a second, is to help women identify some of this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because life in the military is very stringent and structured and everything's on schedule. And that is so masculine energy. And I love that you said lean back instead of lean into it, because I know this. I have a lot of masculine energy. I have feminine energy too, but I'm more prone to the masculine because I'm a doer like you, and I'm high
Yes,
achiever,
that's so
right?
good. Mm-hmm.
So, what happens is when you are that level of masculine, you're going to attract a man who's more in the feminine range and will need that from you, right? The mothering and the taking care of, where we really want it to be. It's not a 50-50 thing. It's not a 50-50 thing, but you do want the balance of it. You want to be able to have both of those things simultaneously. So, I love that you came to that realization, and I guarantee you, you're going to help so many women out there who are transitioning into life to be able to allow themselves to be taken care of. I think is part of it too, and to lean back for that. So I love that. And then let's talk about how you're helping them with the trauma side, because I know that is your area of expertise. And I want to talk about your cards and your processes.
Yes. So the lead. Okay. So I created a leadership deck. It's called Open Up and Lead. Um, and this one is focused. So this first deck is the Samantha deck. She's a character I created, and they're each. I have four different characters, and they're all in a different process of leadership. Samantha's the first one. She's young. She's new to leadership, and her biggest issue is that she's navigating her own emotions while she's managing people and managing the basic things that people do in life that mess up the system for being a leader in a job. So there are real life examples. For instance, one is, um, you know, Kenny, his leaving work early and isn't following process for clocking out appropriately. You
Mm.
find out that it's because he has a life circumstance that he's having to deal with. How do you manage that issue while also being sensitive to the life circumstance? So it really is adjusting it's helping adjust out of this is the rules, we need to get them done, very like masculine, to more of that I understand that I'm feeling a certain way about this. How does it make me feel? And
Yeah.
then also, how can I help you and us get the job done? And that's more specifically using emotional intelligence. That's a big focus on this particular card deck.
Mm.
And also taking care of your troops, because that's very important thing that most military folks have who have been in some kind of leadership position, is knowing that if your troops not doing okay, your ship's not going to sail, your machine's not going to work. And taking those military skills, speaking in civilian language, but still tapping into your emotions and your processes, and not looking at it all as kind of pass or fail, but adjusting and shifting.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And
Thank you.
useful and fun and playful
Mhm.
and yeah, what a great way to learn and experience, right?
Yeah. So the
Yeah,
card deck itself has three cards. There's the scenario, the affirmation, and a reflection. Yeah.
love it. Love it. Love it so much.
Thanks.
That's wonderful. So let's talk about more about your show. What can viewers expect when they come and watch Armed with Ambition?
I'm so excited about the show. I'm a nerd at heart and I have toddlers right now. So I've been watching a lot of kids shows and that's been helping me with my inspiration. So there will be interviews with different experts talking about military specific issues like food insecurity. Because it probably is baffling to believe that there is a food insecurity issue with a lot of these families because the lower ranks will often have larger families and not make as much as we think they do. And so there are people out there who are advocating for making sure enlisted folks who are the lower numbers is the easiest way I can say that in a civilian term, are making enough or getting the resources they need to make sure they're feeding their families. So food insecurity, I have relationship topics, relationship experts coming, but then also because we've been taught to seal up our emotions and compartmentalize everything. I wanted to bring in some of the playfulness of being a kid and relearning, tapping into our emotions. So I hope to get really creative ways to talk about emotions in there, whether it be creating silly songs that get stuck in your head that are about feeling. So there's a range between tapping into playfulness, tapping into your femininity, and giving practical advice on transitioning well.
It's so brilliant and unique, which is why we love you so much. And we've got another host on our network who has a sketch in every one of her shows. It's very much organic with, who she is and authentic to what she does. And you both are moms with young children. And what I love, what I've witnessed with her is, and this is going to happen with your girls, which is so, I mean, it tears me up and it gets me so excited that they are going to watch you and witness you. And the women who are watching your show are going to watch and witness you. And the ripple effect that's going to have on the women who've left the military and are readapting to civilian life. And then their children are going to benefit from your incredible show by offering this and doing it in a playful way, because I love the fact that you're focusing on the playfulness and the fun, and because we don't have enough of it. And especially for, you know, I'm speaking in general. All of us are told, grow up, act your age, all of those things. But when you grow up in the military, you're literally seeing the way, it is. And there's a time and a place for everything. Right. And so, and most of your life isn't even determined by you. You've got to grab moments when you can, because you don't know when you're going to have to pack up and move and relocate and all of those things. Yes. And that does cause a lot of emotional trauma, because we seek safety. First and foremost, all of us, the number one thing that everybody wants is the feeling of feeling safe. And when you're moved to unfamiliar neighborhoods, cities, towns, bases, wherever it is, there is a lot of trauma that happens when you are, moved out. And so the amount of topics that you could be talking about is incredible. And your show is going to be such an incredible, valuable resource for so many people, which I'm so excited about for you. Yeah.
Thank you, Diane, for giving me this opportunity to have a platform to do so. Yeah, I definitely, you were the first person that I trust with my show on your channel. And so that says a lot about who you are as well, and the vision that you're building.
Thank you. Well, I'm committed to my dream too, as you know, and thank you for supporting it and being a part of it. And to the audience that's listening or watching this right now, we're actually getting together. We're going to meet in person this weekend in just a few days and get to hug all of the hosts and talk about what we've created thus far and where we're going in the next year, which is very, very exciting. So stay tuned. We will have lots of announcements about that. But really being able to take who you are authentically, Siobhan, and continue to build that out to serve at your highest, greatest, fullest potential in your zones of genius. That's the power of what you're doing with your work right now and with this show and what you're teaching your daughters, and the impact you're going to have is so much fun. So much fun. Okay. Well, there's two more questions I want to ask you that I ask every one of my guests. So the first question is, how do you live the I have today way, which is intentionally in the present moment? And if you could answer it with, start it off with, I have today too.
Okay, I have today to have faith in the process.
Ooh, so good. Yes. And to lean back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. Beautifully. I mean, so beautifully said. I love it.
Thank
And then
you.
the other question is, what do you wish more people knew?
That they can slow down. It doesn't have to get done. I wish more people knew to slow down.
Oh my God. I think that's the biggest takeaway of today. There's a lot here, so much here. But that is so true. That is so true. Oh my God.
And I struggle with it, but I know at the end of the day, it's the best thing for me. Slow down, Siobhan.
Yes. Yes. And I know when I slow down, oof, miracles and magic start popping in and rolling in. Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. All right. So how can people find out more information about you?
The easiest way to do that is empowerwomenveterans.com. And then that links to my socials, LinkedIn, at LinkedIn and Instagram at Empower Women Veterans. But probably LinkedIn is the best way if you want to reach me right away.
Good, good. All right. Well, we'll have that in the show notes as well. Well, Siobhan, it's been amazing having you on the show today. Is there any final words you'd like to share before you go?
I have today is one of the most wonderful things that has happened to me. And I appreciate everything that you're doing, Diane. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, I love you madly. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I will see you soon. Take care. Bye. Oh my God, so wonderful. So wonderful. So many nuggets. I hope you all got a lot of nuggets out of what Siobhan shared today, because it was powerful, powerful. I mean, in her young life, what she's accomplished already is incredible. And so brave and authentic, real, raw, and honest. And isn't that so refreshing? That's what we need more in the world, for everybody to not put up a front everywhere, like on social media, like, oh, I got it all figured out. When the truth of the matter is, none of us do. Everybody's going through something. And for her to be focused on helping women in the military and focusing on that niche is so wonderful. So we are thrilled and honored to have her be a part of what we're creating. And just so you all know, we're just getting started. What's coming is going to be super exciting, but I'll have more announcements about that in later episodes to come. I did want to say that, first of all, that we have a lot of exciting things that are going to be happening. And one of the two things is I am going to be bringing back a segment that I used to do based on my first show, which was back in 2017, called Love It, Thank It, Bring It, because it is a powerful mantra and tool that I use to launch my first show. And I want to bring it back as a segment of this show. And what Love It, Thank It, Bring It means is it's a quick anchor. It's a quick trigger to get you out of a state of maybe stress, anxiety, negative emotion, into a place of gratitude and hope and actual leaning back, just like Siobhan said, and slowing it all down and realizing what your real purpose here is to just be, and be aware, be curious, be open, be grateful, and all of those things. But love it, thank it, love it, thank it, bring it. There, I can speak. Stands for loving your life no matter what has ever happened to you in your entire life. Like Siobhan shared candidly what happened with her. And knowing that there's a gift in all of that. And when you can find the gift and the gratitude for it, how you'll know at some point in your life that you'll be able to use that. So love your life, because like I said at the beginning of the show, there's a 400 trillion to one odd of you being born. Those are the odds. You're a miracle for being here. And so it's really about your past, where thank it is about the present moment and being in gratitude and appreciation for where you are right now. From this, amazing water that I have in front of me, and my beautiful team behind the scenes running the show, and you watching it right now, and my studio here, and having this beautiful guest, and, breath in my lungs, and food in my fridge, and a roof over my head, and all the things we can be grateful for. That when you live in gratitude and appreciation for what you have right now, that ripple effect, that frequency and that feeling and that emotion and the energy goes out, and it's a magnetic attractor for more. So love it is the past, thank it is the present, and bring it is the future. And then how do you intentionally take where you are and design and create your life? Because again, you are the one, like I started the show with, you are the one creating it. And if it's not coming from you, it's happening to you. And so what Love It, Thank It, Bring It, that segment is going to be is I'm going to talk about a single subject or topic, and many times it's a word, and then how that word is showing up in your life, and then how to reframe that situation or your language, and use affirmations, one for love it, one for thank it, one for bring it, for you to start living in that power and being in an understanding and appreciation for where you are right now and where you're going and everything that you've been through in your life. So it all ties together beautifully. So that's coming up. That's going to be a new segment that we're putting back in the show from my first series. So that's the first announcement. The second announcement is that we have the opportunity for you to see how TV ready you are. Whether you want your own show, which I highly, highly encourage you to have your own show. I have a podcast now called Be a TV Star Host podcast. It's ranked top 5 in the world globally. By the way, our podcast is ranked in the top 2.5% in the world. So we're so proud of ourselves here. But there's never been a better time for you to create your own asset of a platform that's a long form content platform to grow your business and your brand, your credibility, your reputation, your influence, your impact. There's so many benefits to it. So we have a free assessment for you to complete and see if you are TV ready. And if you are, we are going to invite you to a complimentary casting call. And so if you want to explore this and take the free assessment, there's a link for you right there. If you are watching this, there's a QR code, and you would go to tvstarhost.com casting, tvstarhost.com casting to check that out. So we look forward to seeing you. And then now what we're going to do is we are going to wrap the show with our mantra meditation. So make sure you are not distracted at the moment. Please make sure you're not multitasking. And if you're driving, you can't participate. You can kind of listen, but obviously keep your eye on the road and keep yourself focused on what it is you're doing. Same thing if you're operating any heavy equipment. But for everybody else, please pause so you can be present and slow down, like Siobhan said, and integrate how we just spent this hour together so that it becomes a part of your soul and your spirit and who you are today, so that you're leaving this show differently than the way you started it. And that's good. That's ascension. That's advancement. That's enhancement. That's growth. And that's progress. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you follow along with me. I'm going to do 2 sets of breaths. These are my rainbow breath meditation. We're going to breathe in through our nose for the count of 4 and pull that all the way down to your root chakra, your tailbone. Then we're going to hold it as we count to 8. And as we count to 8, we're going to send energy to all 8 of your chakras, starting with your root, then your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your third eye, your crown, and your soul star, which is about a foot above your head. Very important one. And what we're doing when we're breathing in is imagine it's the mist of a rainbow. Like you're literally breathing that cloudy, colorful air and moisture in, because the colors of the rainbow match the color of the chakras. So when you breathe it in and you hold it and you count to 8, when we're thinking about our chakras, we're going to light them all up. We're going to send energy and love and light to all of them, all the colors that they are, because all of our chakras are connected to everything in our body and our astral field, everything around us. It's incredibly healing. And you are always one breath away from feeling better. So when we get to the top at 8, then you're going to breathe it out for the count of 8 seconds as if you're blowing out birthday candles. I want you to feel like a deflated balloon when we're done. So it looks like this. And we're going to do that 2 times. Now, don't worry if you didn't get all that. Trust me, if you just follow the process with the breaths and the sending the energy, you're going to be all good. All the healing's going to happen. And then you just listen to my words. So here we go. Put your feet flat on the floor. Put your hands on your lap, face down if you feel grounded, or turn them up if you want to receive more energy. Gently close your eyes and relax. And now breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds as you breathe in that mist of that rainbow. Hold it and count to 8, sending energy to all 8 of your chakras. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now blow it out for 8. Should immediately feel better. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in the mist of that rainbow, 4 seconds through your nose, all the way to your tailbone. And then light up all of those chakras. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And breathe it out for 8. Keep your eyes closed and listen to my words. I have today to love my life. Something really good is going to happen to me today. I can feel it. Miracles big and small, I notice them all. Yes, 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 thank you. I have today to live any kind of life that I want. I am limited by nothing except the limiting beliefs that I put on myself. I am no longer going to be a victim to the outside world, the opinions and beliefs of other people. I am going to live in my true, authentic power. I am going to understand that I am going to go through experiences in my life, that I don't have it all figured out, but everything that happens to me is happening for me, and it's leading me down the road to my destiny, to my purpose, to meaning in my life. I'm going to be attached more to feeling into slowing down my life, honoring each and every today, in presence, in gratitude, in appreciation, and get connected to my feminine energy more and more and more. Be focused on less doing and more being, because when I silence myself and I live, breathe, and move and operate that way, I receive the downloads. I get the ideas. I get the visualization. I get the energy. I get the creative visualization for what my next right move is. And it is a beautiful, beautiful flow. The days of me wanting to flip tables over and flip people off and, yell and scream and slam doors and do any of that, I'm putting behind me. And if I have a slip up, that's okay. Every now and then, I'm going to forgive myself because I am human. But I'm also going to operate under the love it, thank it, bring it tagline too. And know that everything that's ever happened to me in my entire life has been here to serve me so that I can learn and grow and expand. I'm going to live in gratitude and appreciation each and every day. I'm going to be open and curious. I am going to watch Siobhan's TV show, because I want to learn from her. I want to bring more fun and playfulness back into my life. I want to connect with my inner child. I want more of that. And when I do that and live like that, I'm going to align with others just like that. And my life will continue to get better and better and better each and every day. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank my beautiful guest today, Siobhan Cunningham, for being here, and to you for being here. I love you more than you know. It means the world to me that our show is growing at the rate that it's growing, and that I'm here as your leader and host to bring you this amazing content and this television network as we continue to expand and grow the I Have Today movement. We're on a mission to touch the lives of 1 billion women who don't know their self-worth, to discover their true divinity, power, and purpose. And with that, it happens one day at a time, and we have today to do this together. So follow me on social media, Diane Forster Official. The show is I Have Today with Diane Forster, and my website is dianeforster.com. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.